So, welcome to our latest workshop. For our guests today, you are joining what I have as a story workshop. So, it's a story group. So, they're inside some of you here, inside the Zoom room. There are some paying customers, and they're on a journey to learn 7 story types. So they can start more conversations and earn more money. And what we do in the story group every Wednesday at 1 o'clock is to help people, give them the structure to particular stories. And there's 7 stories, and then there's kind of 4 steps within each story that we do. And there's really the learning, the personalizing, the practicing, and then the putting into action. And if you know, it is about applying the stories that you are using, that you're learning, so you can start those conversations. And different stories have different outcomes. I teach a personal story, which is about business, but it is personal kind of insights or opinions or those types of things. We've got an anecdotal story. We've got a teaching story, a success story, the introduction story, the vision story, and the one that we're doing today, which is the persuasive story. So just want to let you know that I just wanted you can give me a thumbs up or an okay. So just want to let you know that we're going to have around about 55 minutes for me to take you through, the persuasive story. I'm sorry if I stutter. I'm sorry if I use a few ums and ahs. It's not very presentation-like of me, is it? And you're okay with that. Yep, you're okay. Thumbs up. Got a few okays. Excellent. Nice. Dylan, no, keep your hands on the wheel, boy. Keep your hands on the wheel. And then we're going to take
It's
you
a
through.
Tesla. It auto drives.
Oh, it's a Tesla. Wow, goodness me. And so we're going to take you through the personalized story, and so the persuasive story. I'm going to give you a framework. I'm going to give you some pointers on how to break that down. You're going to go away and do some work. You're going to write out a persuasive story, and then we're going to do some coaching with a select number of people who want to get coached on writing their persuasive story. And the last step is we have a story group. I have an offer I'd love to share with you as to how you can get these same results from the story group. Are you okay with that? I can do that at the end? Marvelous. All right, let's dive into it, shall we? But before I do that, I need to do a quick introduction of our paying customers who are in the house, just so I can do a little bit of promotion of them. We have the lovely Emma Wong, who's on her iPhone. She's an accountant in Mairangi Bay. There she is. Give a little wave. And we have Dylan, who is driving in the Tesla. Must be making lots of money as a real estate agent. There we go. And we have Nikki Jones. Where are you, Nikki? She was here before. There she is. Oh, how could I miss the beautiful Nikki Jones? And Nikki is it's a special thing. She's a lifestyle entrepreneur, kind of focusing on 3 things: wealth, AI, and health. So please connect with people. I'm a big fan of networking. If you see somebody in the group today, please reach out and have a conversation. That's what it's all about. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to bring up what we call the persuasive story. Got that ready? And if someone could, I'm going to ask you a question first of all. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're amazing, 1 like you need work, how persuasive are you? In the chat, how persuasive are you in persuading customers or clients to work with you? On a scale of 1 to 10, go. All right. We have a few. What do we got? Cat, where's a chat? Disappeared again. There we go. Chat. 4, 6, 7, 4, 4, 6. You're sitting on the fence. Kaushik, yes, well done, Kaushik or Kaushik, depending on how where you go. Obviously, being a mortgage advisor, you'd be good at that. Persuasive. Okay, so this is what we call the persuasive story, and it is ideal for influencing people to take action. And for me, it works really, really, really well on website landing pages. But ultimately, you can use it in a conversation you can use it to persuade people to see your perspective. Now, I will share this as a download for you, so you will be able to get this with the replay. But it is important that it's told in the correct order. And we use an acronym called PASTA. PASTA, not pasta edible, pasta preacher. All right, Doug, you remember that one? PASTA. And the P stands for problem, then amplify, story, transformation, offer, and response. So this is what you're going to be doing today. You are going to be mapping out one problem that you solve for your customer. Now, for those people in the story group, we talk a lot about problems because we use the problems in the stories. So we need to identify one pain point or challenge that your customers have. Then we're going to amplify that, the consequences of them not addressing the problem. Then we're going to share a relatable story or an example that illustrates that problem. And that for those people in the story group, if you've been following along, of course, this is where we're going to tell almost like a mini client success story. You'll know how to frame those. Then we're going to talk about the transformation, a solution that transforms the situation. Then we're going to have an offer, one line, to present your product or service as the key to achieving that transformation. And the last one is the response, a clear call to action that encourages people to take the next step. All right. So that is the structure of it. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to leave this on the screen while you're going to go away and do some little work on your persuasive story. And we're just going to give you a little bit of help on some of those key things. And from what I'm finding in the story group, the problems need to be addressed as a problem, right? So for Emma, who's an accountant, she said to me the other day, it's like cash flow is a problem. It's like, well, cash flow as a word is not a problem. The lack of money I have in my business, or I don't have enough money to pay my suppliers, is a problem, right? Cash flow is, we need to be able to describe our problem as a pain. Here is an example. If you've come via my website, you would have found there was a landing page, and this is where I break it down. So the problem for advisors, salespeople, coaches, experts is getting conversations started, getting business conversations started, right? And that is the P. And that's the next one, whether that's online, on social media, or events, or networking. That's the problem. And here is the amplify. If you don't relate to your prospects, you won't build trust to meet your sales targets or make those sales to run your business profitably. It's almost like kicking the sore knee, just letting them know that if you don't do this thing, you won't get, there's a bigger price to pay. And then it's again, you'll be chasing your tail. You'll lose out. You have to go bankrupt. All of those type things, right? If you don't meet clients, you won't make money. You won't put food on the table, and you'll have to go and get a job, right? That's that pathway. Here is a short story to frame a particular client that you have already solved the problem for. I met Roger at a networking event in Auckland. He was a very knowledgeable travel agent. Okay, you should be listening to this one. And he wanted to get into the corporate market by posting on LinkedIn. But he just reposted supplier content and got little or no engagement. We worked together, and he now has clients reaching out to him on LinkedIn because of his emotional and inspiring travel stories. All right? That's the story component. We've told a short story. And then what are we up to next? We will be up to the transformation. This is the transformation. In this download are 5 stories that I taught Roger that I'd like you to use as well. That's the transformation. And there's one more line. Your shortcut for conversations online and offline. Here's the offer. You'll get a story with an explanation of each along with an example. And there was a call to action. Download these stories so you can use in your content and start conversations today. So is this helpful? You're finding, are those steps pretty clear? So who wants to work with me now just so we can get really crystal clear on the problem, right? Can I pick people? I can. I'll pick you, Doug White. Come on, you can turn yourself off mute. What is a problem that you solve for clients as a mortgage financial advisor?
Taking the problem off their hands and into my hands in regards to dealing with banks.
Okay, cool. So how would you phrase it as a problem? So it's kind of like I can hear that's a challenge, but is it a problem? What's a deeper problem?
Do you have bad credit? That might be their problem.
So, okay, cool. Yep. So I've got bad credit and I can't negotiate with the banks.
Yeah.
Right. You kind of want to say it's like you want them to deal with you so they don't have to deal with the banks, right?
Yep.
Excellent. And have you solved that before with a client where they have had bad credit and they've got a loan?
Yes.
Good. Excellent. This could be a persuasive story. You probably find that there might be, I always sort of say there's generally 3 or 4 problems, general problems that you solve for clients. And there might be 3 or 4 persuasive stories, because in each persuasive story, we're only going to deal with one problem. One problem. That's the challenge here is, so Leanne, do you want to have a go and tell us one of the problems that you solve for clients? Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
I know that mute button, bottom left.
Sorry. One of the problems I solve for clients is helping them to feel more confident about posting on LinkedIn.
Okay, cool. So what is that as a problem? If you were the client, what is the problem that I have? I'm not confident posting on LinkedIn.
Or, yeah, I don't know what to say on LinkedIn.
Excellent. It's good. You start getting down to the nitty gritty of the problem. It's like, it's only because I've done a little bit of LinkedIn training in my time. It's like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to be judged, right? All of those kind of problems. Nice. And there might be lots of problems, and we just need to find the biggest one that is going to, you can ideally, hopefully, Leanne, share this persuasive story on LinkedIn.
I will.
Good.
And I'll tag you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, one other person. I'm gonna go to someone in my story group. Ask Nikki Jones if you can unmute yourself and you can share a problem that you solve for customers. Set as a problem, please.
I feel overwhelmed in my business and I have a lack of focus.
Which of those problems? There's 2 problems. I have a lack of focus and I feel overwhelmed. See, I know it's like, it's a natural default for us as human beings to want to add more problems into a sentence, because we solve problems, right? As business owners, we solve problems. Which is the biggest one?
I have a lack of focus and never seem to achieve my business goals.
Excellent. So I'm not achieving my business goals is the problem, and the solution is focus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. All right, one other person. Dylan, you want to share something?
One problem for prospective buyers is they don't have adequate time to view the properties they want to view.
Okay, cool. I don't have time to view the open homes, right?
Yeah.
I don't have time, right? I don't have time, Cool. Now I'm going to stay with you, Dylan. What is if you were to amplify that problem, what is, if you were to amplify the consequences of not addressing the problem, what's going to happen if they,
generally they go into this never-ending cycle of trying to find homes, and they don't find the home that they're wanting generally.
cool.
I've met people who have been doing it for a year and still haven't found the home. When they worked with me, they found one within, it was 3 months.
Got it. Cool. So the amplifier of the problem is you'll be living in the same 2-bedroom flat that you've lived in for the last year, right? It's almost just like you want to, you won't get to have that, 4-bedroom house that you've always dreamed of. You'll be 2 kids sleeping in 2 rooms or whatever,
Yes.
You can be really emotional with it. It really is kind of kicking that sore knee. Excellent. Does someone else want to share one of the problems that they solve for clients? Simon, I'm going to pick on you. Simon, what's a problem that you solve for clients? You can unmute yourself. It's okay.
Getting a job done at height efficiently and effectively.
I'm unable to paint my house because I can't get up to the chimney level, right?
You can't get high. Yep, that's right. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Excellent. Now you can use some story elements. Notice that it's like we can talk about the problem, but we can talk about the problem and almost place it. It's like pretend that you are your customer, and it's like when. It's almost like I'm going to do the little when you're trying to paint your house.
Yep.
And you look at your 3 meters, your 3 meter stud, and I just can't get up to paint that level and do it professionally, right? You've told a little bit of the story around the challenge. All right, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to give you 10 minutes each. And obviously, Dylan, you can do it in your head. All right, you have to do it in your head, all right? Or if it's got the self-drive, you can pull out the pen. Write down the problems, do the amplify, and then write a short, relatable story of an example that illustrates the problem. And for our story group people, that's where you're going to use the little bit of the ABS. All right. I'm going to shut up, leave you to it, play some music. Let's go. If you can just get through those first 3, problem, amplify, story, the transformation offer response should be reasonably straightforward. Oh, over to the left side, Dylan. Yeah, I like you better on the right. if you've just joined, a couple of people wanting to get the link. If you've just joined us, we're telling the persuasive story, and we're doing a little exercise for you to write out your problem, one problem that you solve for customers, but written as a problem, and then to amplify the consequences of not addressing that problem, and then have a go at writing a relatable story or an example that illustrates the problem.
I have a question, John.
Yes, Mr. Driver.
So if you're relatively new in an industry, you know some of the problems. So I can do a lot of buyer type of problems, but I've only had a few listings myself. So the stories from that side are very, very, very narrow.
Sure.
What do I do in that particular case?
You know, when I say don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, sometimes, and we've probably solved that problem before, but almost indirectly.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, I know that you're working as a twosome or, you know, as a
Yes.
pair. There'll be some of those problems that she perhaps solved that you were listening in on, but you're going to take that as you collectively solved the problem, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
just like I use her listings as, hey, look at what we've sold, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's it's just how you word it, right? How you word it. So I would probably have for you, it's like one persuasive story to do with sellers and one for buyers.
Yes. Okay.
Bearing in mind that every real estate agent is going to have those same problems.
Yes.
So it's, but it's you telling the story. Welcome to a few other people who have slipped into the room. Jonathan Burke, the beautiful Mr. Jonathan Burke is in the house. Good to see you, you beautiful man. Yeah. And Baptist made it. Well done to you. Roma is in the house. She's not showing her face. I don't know. She's got a beautiful face. I don't know why they turn the cameras on. Turn your cameras on. Come on. There we go. Look at that smile. Oh my God. Wow. Are you following what we're trying to do here? Cool. And Rowan, yep, Mr. Other Accountant, very good. Allo is in the room. Mr. Chiropractor. I don't know how do I pronounce your first name. How do I Aloysius? Is that did I just Aloysius? How do you B&I Manica? How do I say that first name? Aloysius. Is it Aloysius? No, it can't be. That sounds odd. Mr. Chiropractor, you can speak.
Aloysius.
Aloysius. Wow, I would never have. Aloysius. I can see why you're an Alo.
Easy to pronounce, man.
Good.
Easy to pronounce.
Are you following along with what I'm tasking you to do?
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. All right. Has anybody got the first part, the problem, amplifying the story for a problem? Has anyone completed that? Actually, before I do that, if you need some more time, say yeah, or just give me a thumbs up. If you need a bit more time, of course, keep going. All right. Another couple of minutes. Give us a smile, Samara. Come on, smile it, smile it, smile it. Come on, where's that smile? There it is. There it is. Yeah. You could share a persuasive story in less than 60 seconds. Just let you know that. But maybe tomorrow, Roma, tomorrow.
I have a sub for tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, you can always go to another chapter.
Oh, yeah, I'm just out of Auckland at the moment.
Okay.
but I can do it in my next one.
You can. You can.
Gives me a week to practice.
I can try one, John.
Dylan, we're not ready yet. Well, I've got to wait for Corsic.
Oh.
You just wait. Hang on. I'm giving you another minute. Still got 25 minutes of good talk time, coaching time. Was that a frown, Vera? Were you frowning then? No, you just the hair. I know hair's good.
My children came back from school and I put my headphone and messed up with my hair shape.
I can relate to that problem. Just without the children. But I did have my annual shave day today.
Yeah.
Yes. I look 29.
Very
Okay.
different.
Very different, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let's start with you, Dylan. It is 1:30. Let's dive into it. Let's talk about a problem and amplify and a short story to frame the problem. Are you ready for us?
Yes. So I'm not sure how to. Okay. So Leanne and Jeff lived at 29A Burt Wilson Place in Cockle Bay. They were looking to sell their property. Beautiful 3-bedroom place overlooking the forest. But they are absolutely terrified of negotiating in negotiating prices and their agreements. Now I'm in.
So what's your? I know it's really hard because it's like what you've done. You've launched into a client success story.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it's good. And now we're gonna undo that. We're not setting up the story piece first. We're just getting straight into the problem. It's like it's almost like the when.
Yeah. The problem was someone gave them a low offer. Someone gave them a very low offer. They were terrified of negotiating back at a price that they wanted to put forward. So the problem is they don't know how to negotiate. Yeah.
Excellent, cool. So when you're faced when you're selling your home and someone puts in an offer and it's just too low.
Yep.
Right? That's the problem, right? When you're selling your house. So I'm giving you a clue, guys. It's like, if you're looking for a way to start the piece is just you use the when. Cool. Problem. And then what is the amplification? If you don't negotiate, how would you amplify that?
If you don't negotiate, you could potentially lose out on $100,000 of profit, and
maybe
going into retirement. That could be quite a few years of spending.
Yeah, cool. Right. So it's like, and if you don't negotiate, you'll lose money. You could potentially lose hundreds of thousands of dollars for your retirement.
Yeah.
Right. There we go. That's the amplification. Then you'll get into the story part, which is, I worked with a couple who had a lovely house. The real estate agent needs to pack in all that beautiful words. It's like worked with this lovely house in said suburb. They got an offer on the house, and they wouldn't, and they didn't know how to negotiate. I worked with them, and now they got an extra $100,000 towards their retirement. Nice. Cool. All right. Let's choose somebody else. Let's go with Silmara. And you can unmute yourself.
Sorry, John, I don't resolve people's problems. I sell dreams. So I just stay in the call because this is really nice. But I don't really have a problem to follow that.
So when you say selling dreams, what do you sell?
I own a boutique hotel on Waiheke Island.
Yep.
So people go there to celebrate honeymoons, proposals, wedding anniversaries, milestone celebrations.
Got it. Cool. So there is a problem that
Tell
we
me.
have. There is a problem that we have, right? And they have a problem, right? It's like, the options to, to get married are really expensive, or, so you need to be able to frame a problem that your product or service solves. There are problems that people have is, Auckland venues are very same. Yours isn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Or it could be somebody with cancer who needs a mental break away from Auckland.
There you go.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah. Nice one, Doug.
Or just the right size for the size
Yeah.
of the group that you have in your dream.
Yeah, we're small with 4 villas and we specialize in couples.
Cool. So what problems do couples have? I can't say this because I'm not a couple. Nikki, you can chime in because you're a Waiheke local. So what's a problem for a couple on Waiheke Island looking to get away from it all?
You go to a place and it's full of kids.
There you go.
Yes.
Very good. We don't want those, do we, Kaushik, with your kids? Is that a kid sitting next to you? No, it's not. Yeah, young enough. Sorry. Cool. So you can see that there are problems.
Okay.
Right. So there are problems, and then if you amplify, if you do nothing, your honeymoon or your wedding anniversary will just be the same as last year. Boring. Right.
Okay.
Cool. Excellent. And then if you were to share a short story, have you got any stories of clients that have come and stayed with you?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course
Yeah.
you do. And we want to tell those stories. So how we start by telling the story is saying Roger and Janine lived in Bucklands Beach, and they had a wedding anniversary coming up, and they didn't know and they wanted something completely different from wherever they've celebrated the anniversary before. They came and stayed in one of our lovely villas, and they renewed their vows, and they had the most spectacular weekend of their lives. Right? Short story. So when we tell a story, short story, we want to frame who, what, where, why. Who are they? We want to place these people. You've heard me say that before in my story group. Who are these people? So we can kind of pick a mental picture of who these people are. Let's go to Mr. Jonathan Burke.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Samara. Mr. Burke, are you still with us? There he is. And you can unmute yourself because. Hello? No, I can't hear you. We'll go to Baptist. Can you unmute yourself?
The problem is paying too much tax.
Okay. The problem, so.
Amplify it.
Yep.
If you do not record your expenses correctly or do not know which expenses to consider or how much, you will end up paying huge tax bill.
And what is the implication of paying too much tax?
Shortfall of cash flow.
Yeah, but what's the real consequence?
paying too much tax.
I know you're paying too much tax, but if we're look, and I love it. There's lots of accountants and financial people in the room. I love working with you guys because I love the brevity, but it's like we're humans, right? If you don't have enough money, your business will fail. If you're paying too much tax, you know,
Yeah.
what's the human consequence of paying too much tax?
So probably you will not be able to grow your business, or you will not be able to pay for all your expenses.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's like, you know, you're just going to
Or put food on the table. Probably that is more consequential.
There we go. All right. We start going, it's like your business will fail.
Yeah.
But really, we're just giving more money to, you know, the tax man. We don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's a short story? Have you solved that problem before?
Yes, I have just written a story. I
Okay,
worked with Colin, a carpenter living in Newland.
Nice.
Did not know which expense to consider and how much to consider. I gave him advice on how to record those expenses and which expenses are acceptable, not acceptable, and how much by IRD.
And what was the outcome?
The outcome was he started saving money on taxes.
And how much money?
Started
How much?
paying less.
Of course. How much money did he
Thousands
save?
of dollars.
So you want to put a figure around it? Because we all remember the $10,000 figure versus the $500 figure, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I loved it. You set up really, really well. You must have come to one of my workshops before. So with Colin, who's a carpenter from New Lynn, and he was paying too much tax because he didn't know about the expenses. We worked together, and now and just last year he saved $10,000 in tax money.
$10,000. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. So for the money people in the room, if you can quantify it, it's even better. Right? We look at that big number and we go, this is great for real estate agents, great for people saving money, making money. How much money did they save? Be specific. Because other people reading this persuasive story going, you know, knowing that just yesterday was GST day. I had to pay my GST, didn't I? Well, actually, yeah, right. And it's like it's a nerve-wracking time. So we really want to hit on those frustrations that people have. Excellent. Who else wants to give it a go for setting up the story? And Allo, there we go. Allo, you can unmute yourself and you can talk about one problem.
Do you know when you go to a healthcare practitioner, and everyone's done it before, you leave the meeting or that consult more confused than when you actually came into it with? Well, the consequences of this is that you don't have a plan. And I'd like to tell you that what we'd like to deal with here in our practice is delivering you a clear plan. So when you come to our practice, we don't sit down. Our procedure.
Okay. That's good. You're starting to go into a BNI 60 seconds here. You set up the problem nicely. So it's like, you know, when is a really good way to start, right? You know, when you go and see a healthcare practitioner and you leave there more confused than when you went in, you know, and that's largely, and it's like, you know, what is the consequence of being confused?
You don't know what to do.
Cool. Right. It's like, and you know, so you're not going to, and is there a particular problem? So the problem is, particularly for you, is not having a plan. Not having a plan around your healthcare. And if you don't have a plan around your healthcare, what's the consequence of that?
You don't take action on it.
You don't take action, and you get to keep complaining about your problems to your family and friends. Okay. And then what's the story? Have you worked with someone that you solved that problem for?
Yep.
Okay. So what Baptist just did very nicely was set up the story. So a good way to start at the start is like, I worked with, and it's just like, who are they? Where are they? What sort of, you know, what sort of occupation, that sort of stuff. Don't not talk about any of the problems. So I worked with.
I've worked with, I'll say Bob.
Yep.
I've worked with Bob, who had been through all of the specialists, other chiropractors, other physiotherapists, each time left with more questions than answers.
Okay. So
And
tell me more about Bob. What I want you to do is I just want you to tell me about Bob. So Bob is, it's just so this is, so other people reading this persuasive story can relate to being Bob. So Bob was 45 years of age. He lived in Papakura and he worked as a
plumber.
as a what?
Plumber.
Excellent. Nice. So just a few things about Bob.
Yeah.
Right. But now I'm teaching, I teach something called ABS, which is and but so in a relatable story. And Bob, you know, just wanted to, you know, enjoy his life. But the problem his had was, but he visited all these healthcare professionals and was really confused, or, you know, they didn't solve his problem, really, did they? So I probably should put on here is how do we use a bit of ABS in our story? All right. So set up about Bob. We use but as a word to talk about the problem. And then we work together and you solved his problem. All right.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, that's a bit of a hollow call, isn't it? I probably need to put some information in this persuasive story on how to use the ABS structure. I might just pull that up for a moment. Just hang on a moment. Going to stop share and go back to my. Okay. Just going to share the screen with you again. This is a client success story template that I have shared with my story group, and it uses the ABS, which is and but so in your story. And this is kind of what we're describing in the first part of a story. So this client then share 3 things about them: the age, suburb, where they work, etc., how many people in their family. Don't share the problems just yet. Hold back on the problems. So as an example, you know, you work with Bob, who was a plumber, lived in Papakura, and he loved life. But you can see that we get into the but, right? That's the but. Share the one problem they had. The problem was that they didn't have a plan. And then we use that line, we work together, and now we don't actually want to talk about what you did for them, just what they got. And that's what we do in the little success story. So if you want to use this example, hello, this client, Bob. Do you want
Yeah, this client, Bob.
Yep.
I'm just going to steal the things that you said. This client, Bob, was 31 years old with 3 kids, lived in Flatbush.
Perfect.
And he'd seen multiple other practitioners with no plan, so he decided to not follow through with any of the action steps that were required. We worked together, and now he's able to play with his 3 kids and work as a plumber to work.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Very nice. All right. I probably should have shared this earlier. Thank you very much. Well done. Well done. All right. So, Rohan, do you want to have a go with your problem, amplify, and story? You're still doing GST returns. That was due yesterday, Rohan. Come on. You can take yourself off mute. He's disappeared. Kay McCurdy, you want to have a go? Are you with us, Kay? No, back on mute. I know it's the mute vision thing. Doesn't want to have a go? That's all right. Simon. So, did we have Jonathan? Was Jonathan still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Do you want to have a go with your problem, amplify, and the story piece?
Okay, the problem is a landlord struggling to navigate the ever-changing legislations of the Residential Tenancies Act.
Okay. And what is the problem?
The problem is trying to find solutions to avoid getting in front of the Residential Tenancies Act.
Gotcha. So without having to go to the tribunal.
Correct.
Gotcha. So how would you frame that as a short story?
As a short story, we ensure that the landlord doesn't end up in front of the tribunal in a compromised position. Failure to comply could result, as it has with other people, in being prescribed a fine and or punitive damages which are awarded to the tenant. There's lots of stories in the news, and we're not in the business of making the 6 o'clock news.
Okay, let's because what you're doing here is you're telling a story in third person, as if you're describing someone else. So I want you to put yourself in the shoes of being an owner, as if you were, talking to them, right? So it's kind of like, when you're self-managing your property, and the tenant asks a curly question or does something, and you just and you get them out, right? And you get them out. And that's the problem, is not knowing the rules, right? Not knowing the rules. When you're self-managing and you don't know the rules of the Tenancy Tribunal Act, and you eject someone without knowing the full consequences. And the consequence of doing that is that you're going to get sued, or you're going before the Tenancy Tribunal. Mm-hmm. Right? We want to frame a problem as a story. And you can use that line, when. It's as if you're talking to, again, you could be talking to other owners who are being managed by a property manager, or you're talking to self-managing normally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then have you would have go at the story part? Have you solved that problem before for clients? Of course you have.
Yes, we have.
So
but I've written it in third person again as well.
There you go. First person. Stories are great first person.
Yeah.
So it's like, I worked with, Janine and Alex. They had a house in, for some reason, Buckland's Beach is on my mind at the moment. The house in Buckland, wherever it is, right? They've got a house, they've got a 3-bedroom house in Buckland's Beach. And they with 2-car garaging. I know it's like the real estate, the property, you kind of want to describe a little bit about the house, and they loved working with their property manager, but they kicked out a tenant and didn't know the rules. Mm-hmm. We worked together. That's it. We worked together, and they, you through your negotiations, you were able to, not have them appear before the tribunal.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Good lesson for you today. We've got time for 2 more, I reckon. 2 more. Roma, do you want to have a go? Come on, Roma. I love that, the roll of the eyes. You can take yourself off mute.
Hello. Okay. So one of the problems that we constantly get from clients is that they say they don't know how to save, or they can't save. So
how would you write that in first person?
I can't save.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't know how to save. and therefore I'm worried about if an emergency happened, my car broke down, or I got sick and I couldn't work, or how am I going to afford all my living expenses? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay to feed my family, etc., etc. And even the long term, like I might lose my house. I might be homeless, and the long term is retirement, right? So we have clients.
So you want to just look at the screen where it says with the piece about
we work together.
No, sorry, going up here at this front. So we worked with, and again, just describe 3 things about the particular client without talking about a problem.
So we worked with a couple who have 3 teenage kids. They live in South Auckland and work as a security officer and a forklift driver.
Nice. But their problem was?
They don't have any sort of emergency funds. They don't know how to save.
But they didn't know how to save. It had no emergency funding. We worked together, and where are they now?
They have a budget, and they're working on. We've created a budget, and which has allowed them to have some emergency funds, which they are continuing to grow. At the same time, they've got insurance to protect themselves for.
Nice.
Other.
Very good. Very good.
And now they have peace of mind.
See, it's actually really hard, isn't it, folks? It's like we've learned first person, and it's naturally we as business owners want to go straight for the problem and then amplify the problem and talk about multiple problems, when in fact we just want to talk about the biggest one, right? Is it being homeless? I can't save. Car breaks down. I've got no money. All of those are problems. We just want to talk about one of them. Really breaking it down. And in the story framework, Simon, you're nodding, so you can go next. So problem, the amplification or consequence of not addressing the problem, and then a short story. Off mute. Come on, let's go.
You know how as a tradie you may have some of your own gear to enable you to get high, but struggle to get it in the right place at the right time, which then leads to lost time and not having the right gear there when you need it, ending up with unhappy customers, lost time, and delays on your job.
Nice.
Yep.
And then short story.
And
what's the consequence is
unhappy customers, inefficient job, lost time. And which ends up in less profit less margin on the job.
So are you talking about as if it's another like a painter or something?
Yeah, painter. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So I want you to, you could almost set up the problem a little bit more. So it's kind of like, when you go to paint a house and you look at the job and you go, you know what, I think I can get the scaffolding myself and do a DIY project and save some money.
Yep.
Because I'll make more money.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
So then I've got, for example, a painter I work with has some of his own gear, but he finds it too hard to manage and have in the right place at the right time. And he's just going to charge the cost of the scaffolding anyway, or anything he hires. So we offer him a solution and solve all this and take that hassle away from him. When he starts the job, the gear will just be there ready to go and taken away at the end. He can walk off and then it gets taken away. No hassle, no worries. He can just worry about the painting and the more,
Okay, I kind of missed a lot of that. So the story piece, if we're looking at the screen, so it's kind of like this client.
Yep.
Just share 3 things about the client.
So he has his own painting business.
Yep.
Home painting business with lots of jobs.
How many staff?
How many staff? With 6 staff.
6 staff, and where's he based?
With 6 staff based in the North Shore.
Excellent, nice. So this client is a painter. He's got 6 staff and works lots of jobs on the shore.
Yep.
Right. And, you know, he loves doing painting gigs. But what was the problem?
But the problem is, managing his own gear and getting it to the right place at the right time is just an extra hassle that he doesn't need to worry about. Or just is an extra hassle that takes away from getting the job done and puts pressure onto the project management of the jobs.
Okay, there's like 4 problems in there.
Yep.
Just really break it down to one, right? It's like,
one.
but he wasn't organized.
Struggles managing his gear to have it in the right place at the right time to get the jobs done efficiently and effectively.
Cool.
Cool.
But he struggled getting his gear to the jobs.
Yep.
We work together.
We work together.
And now
we set his gear up. We set the gear up for him at the start of the job. He does his work. We take it away at the end.
And now he's actually making more money, saving more time by using Mobile Scaffman.
Yep.
Nice. Excellent. All right, folks, we have come to the end of our hour. I know it goes through. We didn't even get through the second half of the persuasive story. But you got to try these things. So your homework, should you choose to, I'm going to stop share. Sure, your homework, should you choose to have a go with it, is I'd like you to send me your persuasive story, right? Send me your persuasive story. And I'd like you to put into the chat now, if you could, just so a little bit of feedback. One thing that you've learned today, one thing that you've learned today in our persuasive story workshop.